Can you just give us a bit of a reminder of the timeline of what happened in this case, just to remind our viewers and listeners?
Well, if I were to do that accurately, I'd be with you all morning. You know, well,
concise timeline.
The fact is, in 2015, Shamima Begum, having listened to a lot of material about this, some of it came from Scotland, but others from East London, where she went to school, a straight-A student, took the firm decision that she and some friends wanted to go off to join the so-called Islamic State and support its appalling terror activities in Syria and Iraq. And she's told us, she's changed her story, and her story has been changed for her by those she's working with. But initially, she made it absolutely clear she was attracted by videos of people being beheaded and what she thought was the better life, fighting for this very hard form of Islamism, so hard that even Al-Qaeda was a bit afraid of it. So, yes, she was 15, and yes, she was a straight-A schoolgirl, but she decided this is what she wanted to do. And then when, very luckily, really, she wasn't killed when Western forces destroyed the so-called Islamic State, got rid of this vile Nazi-type regime. She was found in a refugee camp and wanted to come back. She'd lost her citizenship perfectly lawfully, been said repeatedly by the then Home Secretary, Sajid Javid. She's not the only person to lose her citizenship. Indeed, she threw her citizenship away when she went to join the Islamic State and became a citizen of the so-called Islamic State. Over 100 people have also been stripped of their citizenship. Yes, we must not make people stateless. We don't do that in this country. But she does have another state, Bangladesh. Bangladesh say, not surprisingly, they're not particularly keen to have her. But that's not our business. So you've had these repeated appeals. She's cost taxpayers about £400,000 in legal expenses, we're told. Her lawyers want to have yet another go. As I say, they continually change the story from her admission that she went out because she found it attractive to behead people to most recently that she was groomed. Along the way, she said she was sort of conned by a Canadian spy, etc., etc. But the fact of the matter is, she is a national security risk. She was lawfully deprived of her citizenship. And in our broken country at the moment, in my view, nothing would be more dangerous than to let her come back. She would be idolized by people in this country, Hamas-style people in this country, who are the enemies of our parliamentary democracy. We've seen them in action in recent weeks in this country. Yeah, most people, of course, think the war of revenge that Israel is waging in Gaza is repugnant. Of course it's repugnant, but that's not the same as carrying out jihadist attacks on people in Israel and then trying to justify them, which is what Hamas and its supporters are trying to do. So whichever way you look, she's had British justice. People say, oh, she needs to come back and have British justice. She's had British justice, and she's got to learn to live with the consequences and be pleased that she's able to be alive to live with the consequences.
Mm-hmm. So the appeals thus far have been trying to prove that the removal of her citizenship is unlawful. That's correct. And there are opportunities for further appeals still, aren't there? I think both at the Supreme Court and potentially the European Court of Human Rights.
Well, I don't think she'll get any. I think she will get short shrift from the European Court of Human Rights, because it's very clear that she has broken. She's broken, you know, the 2006 Terrorism Act, the Terrorism Act 2000. She joined a proscribed organisation. That's a criminal offence. It could be that we don't know the full story. It could be that one day she will come back, but lawfully as a visitor, because she isn't a citizen any longer. She's a citizen of Bangladesh. But the idea that you can do the sort of things that she has done, that you can join with people who want to destroy utterly our way of life, and then say, well, actually, I've thought better of it. Please, can I come back? She's blamed everybody, the cops, the school, people who did take good care of her. She blamed absolutely everybody except herself or the so-called Islamic State. So it is right that we should be sympathetic to people, and it is a tragedy. And she's a very lovely young woman and has a life ahead of her, but not in the United Kingdom.
There's a lot made of the fact that she was so young when she decided to go out to Syria, but I don't know about you, but at 15 years old, I probably knew better than to go and join a terror cell, didn't you?
Absolutely. I mean, and to be honest, she's never really made that claim herself that she was, David Cameron, when he was asked whether he'd taken drugs when he was a student at Oxford University, said, well, when I was young and stupid, I was young and stupid. And that dealt with it. She's never made that. And of course, in some cultures, happily not in ours, 15 is a marriageable age for a woman. And indeed, she consented to be married to a Dutch jihadist when she went out to the so-called Islamic State. You see, the bottom line here is that sometimes the law has got to be hard. That doesn't mean it's unjust. It is hard. It is hard on her. It's hard on her family. And her family have been giving her a lot of support. Some people may feel the wrong support. I don't know. But she's had her justice. Justice is hard. It's hard because of the threat that we've faced. And it is a real threat to our way of life. We saw in Parliament just the other day, the business of Parliament completely disrupted by MPs who feared for their safety because of the strength of Hamas supporters in the United Kingdom.